What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update for you guys today, and quite an action-packed Tottenham update for you. And we're going to talk about incomings and outgoings. Going to be talking about the pre-season tour as well. And let's start off with Davison Sanchez, as Fabrizio Romano brought us last night that Galatasaray have sent a verbal proposal to Tottenham for Davison Sanchez. Confirmed. Understand the proposal is around €9 million fee, but Sanchez also has 2 or 3 more clubs now keen on signing him. Spurs are prepared to let him leave, and it's up to the player. We have a quote from Davison Sanchez representatives as well, and they say Galatasaray is a good possibility. Yes, the news is true. The conditions have to be met, but this is very dependent on Tottenham, and the side needs to bring us closer in terms of salary. We have a publication or a PSV ITK called Rink Alpha Rink, and he says PSV Eindhoven are also interested in signing Davison Sanchez from Tottenham this summer. So who would have thought it? A bidding war for Davison Sanchez. You just can't write it.
Never thought I'd see the day. And there's representatives saying it all depends on Tottenham now. If Tottenham screw up someone actually wanting Sanchez, come on, get this done. And that money could really be crucial when it comes to improving the centre-back area of the squad. If we're really going to seriously look for upgrades to that position rather than just signing one player and maybe a backup, maybe we can sign 2 players who we actually think can be starters for Tottenham this summer in the centre-back slot. And getting someone like Sanchez out the door is definitely going to be a step in the right direction to doing that. And I think these clubs, he might be able to do a good job for them. He's probably at their kind of level rather than where we're at the moment in terms of where we want to challenge for. And I think it's fantastic that there's interest in him, and just hopefully Tottenham don't screw up by demanding too much. Yeah,
and it's safe to say that in terms of what we were speaking about yesterday about who's going to be on that plane and who's not going to be on that plane, with all this news coming to light now, you got to assume he's not going to be on that plane.
Yeah, surely. He can't travel if he's set to go to one of these clubs. So hopefully this one is dealt with sooner rather than later, and I think it's great news for us if we can get him out the door.
Absolutely. Let's talk about incomings now. Mickey van de Ven, Mirror Darren Lewis from the Mirror says that Ange Postecoglou is confident of making £25 million signing Wolfsburg defender Mickey van de Ven his next signing. And Romano said that Tottenham are advancing in talks with Wolfsburg for Mickey van de Ven, told the agreement between the clubs is now close. Negotiations are underway and talks on Monday were really positive, waiting for key details, more to follow. So it looks as though this one is really gathering pace. We've been speaking about this for a while, but this is the first time that we're hearing that the clubs are very close to agreeing a fee.
Yeah, and that's positive news. Obviously, he's one that we've been chasing for a few weeks now, and as much as I'm excited and happy about him coming through the door, I still think Tapsoba should be our first choice target, and we should do everything we can to bring him through the door. Hopefully we can bring them both. That would obviously be perfect, and that would literally be exactly what we need to rejuvenate the centre-back position. But at least if we do get Van de Ven through the door, him partnering with Romero, if they both stay fit, should definitely indicate a massive upgrade in that position. And Van de Ven, for sure, definitely has... is reminiscent in how he plays with someone like Jan Vertonghen and with his cultured left foot, someone who's very composed on the ball, and he seems a bit taller and actually has a bit more pace than someone like Vertonghen.
Just a bit.
Yeah, he's very, very quick. So that is something to be excited about, and hopefully we can get this one done. I do want this one done, but I also want Tapsoba done as well. I wouldn't want this one done to sacrifice the Tapsoba deal. I want both, but I do definitely want this one done as well.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a step in it's a positive step in the right direction when you're talking about Davison Sanchez having 2 or 3 clubs in for him. Van de Ven, the talks are very, very advanced now. So hopefully we can get this done before we travel. I'm guessing that we're going to hear more and more about this over the next coming hours and 24 hours. But I think you're completely right in what you say about the Tapsoba thing. It makes no sense why we can't get both of them. Well, the only sense it makes is because Tottenham will hold this back and the way Tottenham do their business. And that's what I was saying a few weeks ago. I find it very hard to believe that we do bring in both, but actually as the new talks of progressing and talks of other players going out the door as well, I think this could be one that could happen.
I mean, it's only from ITKs who said this, but they're saying that, like, if Tottenham can do a deal for 60 million for both centre-backs, and that's something they're willing to do. And if let's say that's true, Van de Ven comes in for 25, maybe, you know, a deal for Tapsoba at £35 million, which is what, over 40 million euros. Maybe there's some movement there, and maybe with Sanchez money coming in as well, maybe Tottenham would be willing to be a bit more flexible. So I do think there is potential there. I think a double deal for around 60 million would be fantastic business for Tottenham.
It would be incredible business, but I just can't see them getting both over the line for that price. But I think that when you're looking at the players potentially going out the door, not only Sanchez, Lo Celso, which we'll get into in a minute, Pierre Mohoybier as well. You know, you're looking at getting wages off the bill and also bringing money in. So even if it is 75 million for both players, get the deal done.
Yeah, and also we've spent 17 million on a goalkeeper. We got a winger for free, so we haven't exactly broken the bank for those two signings. I know Maddison is going to be 40 million, which is not cheap, but again, we got 10 million for Winks, so that's pretty much 30 million. So we spent 45, just under 50 million so far this summer.
Don't forget Kulusevski and Porro.
I know, okay, fine, there's money there as well, but for the money we're getting back as well from potentially the players you mentioned, there should be more than enough money there to I'm not saying break the bank and spend 100 million on both centre backs, but spend 70 million or 75 million shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Look, teams are spending that on one player. Szoboszlai went for 70 million to Liverpool. Declan Rice has gone for 105 million to Arsenal.
Van Dijk going for 75. Well, how many years ago? 6 years ago was that? Van Dijk went for 75 million. Yeah. So the market's even moved on a lot since then. Yeah. So why can't we spend that kind of money on two centre backs?
And it's not even like thinking about bringing in just like a luxury player, which we don't need. This is a key position for us to move forward as a football club, and we cannot move forward as a football club until we sort out this centre back and defensive position. So it's so key to the future of this football club. Just go and get it done.
It's something that's always going to be holding. If we don't get this done, it's like we'll come in a year's time. We'll be saying, well, we need another centre back. So why not just get it done now? Why wait?
Exactly. Let's move on. Let's talk about Harry Kane. Florian Plettenberg saying that Bayern will certainly return with a third bid for Harry Kane. The next steps will be discussed during Tuesday's board meeting. Matt Law says that Spurs striker Harry Kane could earn up to £400,000 a week by staying at Tottenham Hotspur. Over to Postecoglou to convince him, starting with their first meeting tomorrow. So Harry Kane will be back in the building tomorrow at Hotspur Way.
Yeah, and that's going to be all eyes on Harry Kane on that day. Obviously, it was very famous. He famously 2 years ago came back from international duty and obviously skipped a day of training, and that's what caused a whole furor with Tottenham and on social media and stuff. Obviously, this time
he's got no meetings with Gary Neville booked in exactly on the golf course.
Well, actually, funny you say that because he's got the hot ones coming up on Thursday.
That's not with Gary Neville, is it? That's some American show, right?
Yeah, it's an American show, but still, it's a show they don't like to. I don't know if you ever watched it. I've seen quite a few episodes. They very much like to ask very direct questions and very I wouldn't say hard hitting, but he's very good at his job. This guy, in terms of how he asks questions.
Who is it?
I don't know his name, but he's usually asking film stars and stuff questions. It's very rare he has someone like Harry Kane on. So it's going to be very, very interesting what kind of questions he asks him. Because it's going to be very boring if he's not asking questions about football. He usually asks questions about films and their life and stuff. So I imagine there is going to be some mention of it.
When is that going?
Thursday.
It's
going live on Thursday, so I think keep an eye out for that.
I think he's planned that particularly carefully because on Wednesday he's signing the contract, so that's
exactly.
Let's talk about Clement Longley now, as Mundo Deportivo claimed that Longley arrived today, which was yesterday, at Ciudad Deportivas to start pre-season with Barcelona. But hours later, Barca informed him that he has permission to be absent until July the 18th to close his departure, and he will not train with the team. The player is close to joining Tottenham, and Fabrizio Romano just confirmed not the Tottenham stuff, but the Barcelona stuff. And he said Barca announced that Clement Longley has permission not to start training with the team until July the 18th. Barca expect Longley to leave this summer. Yeah. Please, just let us focus on good targets.
Exactly. Enough of these cheating out and getting targets that we know aren't good enough and we're going to have to get rid of sooner rather than later. It makes no sense to me. I don't want Longley at the club. As much as I don't think he's terrible, I don't think he's what we need to improve. I think he's a defender who's long confident as well. Maybe you could argue he has, he's a bit older, he bring a bit of experience to the back line, but at the end of the day, he is just going to get caught out time and time again when we're playing a high line, and he's going to be targeted. So I don't see the point in bringing him in. Focus on long-term investments who we know can be here for a long time and improve the back line, rather than players who are average and going to have to be shipped out. in a year's time.
I've said it before that I don't mind if Longley is the worst defender at this football club. But when you look at the likes of Eric Dyer still being around, it doesn't look like he's going anywhere this summer. With Eric Dyer having this going into his final year of his contract, then we may as well have Dyer as the worst player at this the worst defender at this football club, and then look to replace him next summer. I think that's the way to go. So I don't think there's any reason why we should sign Longley.
Agreed. Look, it looks like Dyer's staying. If we are selling Dyer, which is not happening, let's say we do, then I don't mind you bringing Longley, and you as long as you bring in another 2 centre backs on top of that. But if you're keeping Dyer, I don't want Longley here.
Yeah. Absolutely spot on. Let's talk about Giovanni Lo Celso now. Fabrizio Romano says that Tottenham have been approached also by Real Betis for Giovanni Lo Celso. There are 2-3 clubs in the race for Lo Celso, but Betis are keen on opening talks in the next weeks. Spurs are aware of that, so I imagine he as well will be one that doesn't travel out to Australia for the pre-season tour. Again, another player that we're having multiple clubs being interested in.
Yeah, which is positive and understandable because he's Argentinian international. I do think when he is fit, he's a good player. Obviously, we signed him from Real Betis and he was in really good form and we were able to get him through the door back then. So maybe Betis believe they can get him back to that kind of form. And he actually was quite a goal-scoring midfielder at Real Betis. Scored like 16 goals that season. So I understand they're interested. I don't think they're going to pay anywhere near the price that we got him for, so it's going to have to be a cut price. But hopefully between Betis, someone like Villarreal and Aston Villa, there's a bit of money we can get from them, at least 15 million, I'm thinking.
Just get as much as we can. I think 15 million would be probably a great deal with what's gone on with Giovanni Lo Celso over the last couple of years. You know, his injury problems as well is something to take into account. But look, again, if we could get money in for him, for Højbjerg, for Sanchez, for maybe even Joe Roden as well, maybe some other players that we have in the squad, that even emphasises the fact why we should be bringing in Tapsover and Mickey van der Ven. So just get the deals done, man. Just get the deals done. Next up, let's talk about Hugo Lloris. Matt Law says that Lloris is understood to have 3 offers from clubs and is expected to leave Tottenham Hotspur, and another one that is most likely not going on the pre-season tour.
It's interesting to say that. Apparently Paul O'Keefe said that Lloris is going, which is interesting. So maybe as of now, there's nothing close. And seeing as he is technically the club captain still, I guess as long as there's no deal on the table, maybe he would go on the tour. But it looks like he's going to be off. Surely, I'm surprised it's taken this long to get his future sorted. But I wish him well in the future. But wherever he goes, but I don't think we're going to be getting a transfer fee whatever happens.
Yeah, but I mean, it's massive wages to get off the bill. I think he's on like 110, 120 grand a week. So that'll be a great thing. But I would like Hugo to get some sort of like recognition and a testimonial or something, but it doesn't look like that's probably going to happen. But with Hugo, what you were saying about Paul O'Keefe saying he will be on the tour, Darren Yarlett said he won't be, so it's interesting.
Maybe he won't be.
We'll see which one comes through there. Next up, let's talk about a few pre-season details. Lily White Rose on Twitter said yesterday that Spurs will play a first-team friendly versus Cambridge tomorrow, which means today, behind closed door at Hotspur Way. The game was initially set to be an under-21 fixture, but Ange wants to get the players into a match before they head out on tour.
That's good, and obviously we'll get.
I think Manor will play.
I don't think. I don't know who'll be ready for that just yet, but it'll be good for. I think it'd be good to really get a picture of how someone like Ndombele is going to do in a match setting rather than just training, and how he's really acclimatising to the new methods. And not just him, maybe it's a real way to get a final decision on people like Reguilon. I guess people like Ndombele, players who we're not sure about who want to be here and how good they are going to be for the new kind of way of playing, just to get a better look at these players in the game setting. So I'm really happy about that, to be honest. And the more games for me, the more games we play in pre-season, the better.
Yeah, I completely agree. And hopefully we'll get some more information about the friendly. I'm not sure what time it's supposed to kick off or who's supposed to be playing in, but as soon as we get some information regarding that, we'll bring that to you. And then finally, Mundo Deportivo say that Tottenham will play the 2023 Joan Gamper Trophy, a very prestigious award, against Barcelona on August the 9th, which is an annual pre-season award trophy that Barcelona do play in every single year. I don't really get this. Why travel out to Barcelona 3 or 4 days before the Premier League season starts?
Is that how soon it is?
Yeah, the match is literally 4 days before Brentford.
That makes no sense to me. You have to at least give it a week, I would thought, and so they're not tired. That doesn't make any sense. I don't know why that's so soon. But who says Tottenham can't compete for trophies? You can carry.
We had the Water Toll Trophy last year, the Audi Cup a few years back.
Get a trophy before the season even starts. Postecoglou's going to be picking up some silverware. I don't understand. I agree with you. If it's going to tire the players out with travelling and playing as well, unless you're going to send a youth team out there, which doesn't make any sense to arrange a friendly in that case anyway, it's very confusing.
Yeah, it is. There was actually one more. There was one more that I wanted to talk about from Alexis Bernard for Le Ten Sport. Don't know how reliable they are, but they're saying that Tottenham, Arsenal and Chelsea will compete to sign Celta Vigo midfielder Gabri Veiga. And he is a talented midfielder, very heavily linked to Real Madrid at one point, but they decided to go for Arda Güler instead. So,
and PSG as well, they were looking at him, I remember, quite heavily. Nothing came of it.
So, I mean, he's a very creative player. I mean, maybe he's the one that they're looking at to replace Pierre-Emile Højbjerg.
Yeah, I would probably think we go for someone like him if we decide against keeping Tongi. I don't think we keep like both of those.
Potentially,
but I think for sure he's like I've seen like a I've done a bit of research into him when we were linked with him previously. He looks like a really exciting prospect, really young midfielder who plays in Spain and really creative, really technical, but as well.
That's what we said about Brian Hill before he joined.
Yeah, true. And it didn't quite work out that way, but I think he's a bit different to that.
All right, well, that is your Tottenham update for today. Any more news breaks, we'll bring it to you here first on We Are Tottenham TV. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all of those news stories today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.